Indies. Happy Saturday. I hope you are doing amazing. Please do let me know if you can hear me, see me, all the normal things. I'm super stoked to hang out with you guys today. I know last week I didn't have a whole lot to show you, but this previous week, I've actually gotten a lot done and explored in some new tests. So I'm actually pretty stoked to share with you guys what I've been doing. So I don't know what that caption is on my live stream right now, but that's fun. All right, that's gone now. So sorry about that. Jeffrey York is here. Marvin Glover's here. I love to see my founders in the house because it means that you're doing the extra things, which I love. So, Erica's here. I missed you last week. What happened? Do you have a life? I mean, come on. You have other things that you do besides this ever? So, my remix came out for Sunbeam yesterday. And that's the end of that story. I'm starting to get more and more skeptical about this whole singles thing that I've committed to. I mean, at this point, it is what it is, and it's going to be this until January of next year. So I'm just like committing to it, you know. But I think there's a portion of me that is like, this is not flames. So, but you know, it is what it is at this point, and it is kind of fun because there are opportunities for merch drops, which I really like, obviously, because I'm a nerd. So this past week, I launched a free plus shipping and handling funnel, which is going splendidly. I'm very happy with it. Thrivecart is just killing it for me, and I'm really happy about that. I also have been working with, since I'm getting this new merch in, I'm kind of like, okay, should I do them in Thrivecart? Should I do them in my Shopify store? I'm debating back and forth between these two things because I started using Drip. And to be honest, MailChimp is just not doing it for me anymore. And as much as I love, I think that it's fine if you're not scaling, right? So if you're not doing a ton of orders and you don't have a lot of e-commerce going on and you're just looking for, a solution and you're in the grandfathered pricing or even on a grandfathered free plan, keep it. But I have started to just do the moonwalk right away from MailChimp because they've just started to get too convoluted with all these extra products. And you guys know I've talked about this before, where they're trying to do all the things instead of being really good at email. And so I've been testing out tons of different providers. I really like SendLane, but it's so expensive. And even though I can afford it, like, I don't want to afford it. Know what I'm saying? I'm like, $79 a month. What are we actually talking about here? So I tried SendLane. I looked at Sendinblue, and I did some things in there, which I liked it. Their Shopify integration seemed a little spotty based on other reviews that I was looking at. And like Shopify App Store reviews, you can't really trust because not everybody who uses Shopify is mega smart. And people are always quick to leave negative feedback before they worry about leaving positive feedback. So I wasn't stoked on some of that, understanding that, some of those reviews are just people who don't know how it works. But it was a little more limiting than I wanted as far as catalog and stuff like that's concerned. So I've been using MailChimp in conjunction with Klaviyo, and I've been using MailChimp for all my autoresponder stuff mostly because they were already built. So it was just easier to just leave it in there. And then I was working in Klaviyo to do more e-com stuff. They have dynamic coupons, which are pretty cool, meaning you can have them expire over a certain amount of time. You can actually build coupons in Klaviyo and have them be unique codes. So you've probably seen this before. When you sign up for someone's email list, they will send you, oh, here's your first 10% off or whatever. And it's like, welcome. And then there's like random numbers after it. And that's essentially what Klaviyo can do. Klaviyo can set it up. You can set a discount in Shopify that's like, welcome, 10% off, first order, whatever. And then Klaviyo will randomize it or create unique kind of suffixes for these coupon codes and, make them individual so that they can't be just used, without that special qualifier on it. So that's kind of cool because it, limits coupon abuse. It also makes it, special for that person. You can kind of track them even better, right? Because you sent them an email, they use that coupon code. It's a very clear link. So I have been using Klaviyo, but it's not my favorite email builder. And it also kind of, I don't know, it isn't great for building campaigns and triggers and stuff like that. So then I was looking at OmniSend for a while, and I gotta tell you, OmniSend is very powerful. A lot of people love it. It's just not my jam. Part of it was the builder. Part of it was the way that you could trigger audiences. I just think there's too many things that we're trying to send people specific things based on these triggers, and they wanted it to be like the triggers they liked. And it was just, I had to work around some of the features of OmniSend to get it to do what I wanted. So I finalized on Drip, which is funny because when we were launching Indie Pro 2 years ago, which guys, 2 years ago, Indie Pro is 2 years old. When we were launching Indie Pro, we were in MailChimp and I was looking at Drip. And I was a little bit, there were two things in it. Firstly, I didn't love Drip. I didn't love the way that they had things set up. I didn't like building stuff in there. The segmenting of customers was not as clean as it is now. So there are some improvements in Drip where I'm like, okay, this is pretty awesome. And then the other thing was that we, MemberMouse, which is the plugin that we use to manage Indie Pro, was just not, it was not going to do what we wanted it to do with the cart and, all of that stuff. So I was like, well, why would we pay for and just deal with a migration of email if we don't have to? So we just stayed in MailChimp. And over the last, over the last 2 years, really, the amount of zaps, the sheer number of zaps that we run between all of our different payment providers, because obviously there are people who signed up for Indie Pro the day that we launched it, and we've changed cart processes a couple of times. So the people who signed up on the first day and are still members, their billing is still in that initial cart kind of recurring phase. And we've used a couple other providers, and we use ThriveCart now. So the just sheer number of zaps we're running at Indepreneur is crazy because MailChimp doesn't work well with a lot of third-party integrations. If you try using MailChimp with, for example, ThriveCart, with Squarespace forms, it allows you to add people to MailChimp, but not groups and tagging and any of the dynamic stuff that we want. It's just you can have people sign up to your list. It's like, gee, thanks. I don't want to maintain 15 different lists. I want everybody on one list. That's the way it should be. So we use Zaps to do a lot of that stuff. And our Zapier bill has gotten pretty crazy. And so that's been true for me as well. Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Greg. I did try ConvertKit, Jeffrey, and I get it. I get why it's cool. I get the things that it does. Like, to me, what I was looking for when I was like going through all this stuff, right, is I was like, okay, I need something that isn't just ecom, and I need something that isn't just email, right? And I need something that integrates with a lot of different tools so that I don't have to like think about switching an email provider every time. Like, what if Shopify becomes really terrible? Or what if Shopify stays the same and something else goes above it, right? Looking at the integrations list and how they integrate, like how well they integrate, I just, I wanted to find a provider that was flexible, had a range of integrations. It was obvious that their development was kind of on par, right? And that they were focused on making sure that all the correct information, LCV, all of that stuff is easy. So that's kind of what I was looking at. I mean, I can use something that is more complex, like ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign. I tried that as well. I can use those tools, and I even looked at MailerLite, which honestly, MailerLite is pretty decent. I think if you were scaling though, it would start getting complex. So I'm not saying that MailChimp is crap, guys, and that you should leave MailChimp. I'm saying I left MailChimp. And that's like with this free plus shipping and handling funnel, and I've got the greatest hits pre-orders going on, and now I'm going to be doing merch drops for every single. Like I'm using mostly Thrivecart and Shopify, and I just needed something that was like really going to track well and get that LCV in there. I've got enough customers where I needed to up my game for ecom. So I made the change to Drip. And so far, I like it. I'm still in the first 14-day trial, so the pricing is really, really similar. It really was similar. If I could have done anything, like no budget to worry about or even consider, I would have done SendLane. SendLane has SMS, they have email, they have all of these integrations. It's beautiful. They do postcards, stuff like that. And it's really just like an all around, like touch them on every kind of level. And right now I'm using like ManyChat for things. I'm using email for things. So right now I have a tech stack that's kind of adding up to still be less than SendLane. So yeah. And Drip also has custom audiences. So you can send lane, like the lane on the road. Stay in your lane, send lane. You can actually, with Drip, you can set up these workflows so that if people like look at a product and you want to retarget them in a campaign, it'll add them to a custom audience in Facebook. And then remove them from that custom audience in Facebook. And, you don't have to worry as much about getting all of your audiences, like setting them all up, right? Because Drip will do it for you. So there's some really cool stuff about Drip that I like a lot. I'm not saying I'm 100% in love with every piece of it. I don't totally love their segmenting process yet, but I'm assuming that it might be somewhat of a learning curve. So we're working on that. Working on it. I say we as in me. Me and all of the people in my head together, we're working on it. But I also, it's funny because I went to Circa and I was like, don't hate me, but I really like Drip and I really think we should use Drip for Indepreneur. And the reason why I said don't hate me is because I was looking at it 2 years ago and I was like, this isn't tight. Let's not use this. Now I've changed my position because I went in and investigated it, right? So it's going to be a bit of a transition. Obviously, the new site, oh my gosh, you guys, the new site is so close and it's going to be so great. I'm really excited. It's just going to be such a major upgrade. Shout out to Andrew, the Dropout, also known as. He is doing just amazing stuff. It's so quick. How he's building this out, and it's going to integrate so much better with a lot of our tools. So I'm stoked on that. I'm really stoked. So my goal is to have us all migrated into Drip from MailChimp. This is for the entrepreneur side. By the time the new site's up. So new site, new emails, new cleanliness. I'm excited about it. So anyway, yeah, but I was like, sir, don't hate me. And he was like, run it to ground. Give me, tell me, what are we looking at with this, And so we kind of did a little workflow plan of what that's going to look like. And it's not small. It's not a small task, which is why I'm telling you guys, if you're on MailChimp and things are working for you there and you're happy with it, stay there. If you're on MailerLite and you like it and it's working for you there, stay there. Only feel the need to move when you're like on a regular basis, whether it's every day or a couple times a week, being like, man, I can't do this thing that I wanted to do because this thing in my tech stack is not covering me where it should. Then move, right? But if it's like, once or twice a month, you're like, oh, well, Drat, I could have done this. Just work around it. So that is the latest on email. I know you guys are like, what the flip? But I just simply cannot endorse MailChimp for new users anymore, because it's just, the product is just not, it's not getting better. And the amount, like I was talking to indies, and let me pull up the pricing page because let's talk about this real quick. And I'm not going to stick on email all day, guys, but I just want to look at the new pricing, because when we were working with some folks in Founder who were still trying to figure out for sure what they wanted to do with their email, I was like, yeah, it doesn't seem that bad. Like, it seems fine. And they're like, no. So here, let me share my screen. All right. So obviously premium, nobody's going to do that. We don't need none of that. Get out of here with that. Okay. So I'm looking at the free and I'm like, okay, this is cool. But I know that this custom domains and websites, get out of here, MailChimp. Ridiculous. Anyway, so they're like, okay, you get these things, seven marketing channels. It's like, I just want you to do email. So, and then it was like, you can only do like, one-off sends, and there's a lot of limitations with free. So free's not really an option, right? So then essentials, that's what I thought everyone needed, because I'm like, I don't need retargeting ads and this behavioral targeting automation series thing that they have going on. I was like, I don't really need that stuff. And I was like, so, indies could probably just go here with the $9.99. And then somebody told me in Founder that you can't do multi-step automations with this account. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You can't send 2 emails in an automation with essentials? And they're like, no. I was like, okay, so you have to do standard. And I'm like, okay, well, $15 ain't bad, right? Like, that doesn't seem terrible. So then when you calculate your price, yeah, not terrible, except that from $500 to $2,500 is one whole pay jump. And like, I know a lot of indies who are, just over 1,000 or, in there paying $50 a month plus taxes, depending on where you're at. That's expensive to me for what MailChimp does, right? MailerLite, let's look at MailerLite. MailerLite pricing. Yep, there's Send in Blue. Oh, I tried Entreport for a hot second. Not too long though. I wasn't a fan of Entreport. I just felt like it was a little too clunky. Oh, can I actually go to MailerLite though? Oh, here it is. All the tabs. So, MailerLite, when you go to the pricing here, obviously, like, this is not terrible. It's actually pretty dang good. And yeah, show me the full pricing though, huh? So you can see, like, you have to have their logo, if you have a free plan. But guys, like, and I haven't tested their landing pages. I'm not recommending their landing pages, just to be clear. But you can do automations and they don't, like, keep you from sending multiple emails. Like, your location mapping, okay. But for the most part, like the free version looks actually kind of okay. And if you're talking about that 2,500 range, you know, $15 versus 50, like that's more like what the pricing used to be for MailChimp. So like I just can't get on board. I can't get on board with this. I think that they gated their bottom tier way too much. I think the price jump is ridiculous. Let me even look at this real quick. $9.99 with 500 contacts, and you know, that would be fine, right? $20 for 1,500 contacts, but you can't send an automation with multiple emails on the new account. On the grandfathered accounts, you're good, but on the new ones, you can't. So I'm wholly unimpressed with it. Just not impressed. And the way that they explain the like this, compare the planned features, and it's like, oh yeah, this tiny little list that doesn't really tell you. Like, what? So, but you can see here, automation series is in this. So yeah, not impressed with MailChimp. Really sad, because I've been using MailChimp for 10 years and I've been, you know, kind of down on them. Like my approval rating of them is kind of like over the last 18 months especially, but with the price changes and the way that they've gated automation series, I'm just like, bye. So it's fine. If you're built in there, leave it there. If you're grandfathered in, your pricing is probably not stupid. Your account is not limited, but I don't recommend it for new users. I can't anymore. Nope. So anyway, that's all I think I need to dig in on email, unless you have questions. So if you do have questions, pop them in the chat and I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll probably move on to something else. So, what else did I do this week? Well, I designed a new t-shirt, which I'm stoked on. And this is, you guys are actually seeing this. The only people who have gotten this so far are my highest LT, basically the pre-orderers of my album. So where is the mock-ups for this? There they are. So I did a few mock-ups because I just like to. So I'm going to pull them on the screen and then share them with you. Okay. So this is the cover art for Sunbeam, which is the single that's out now. Well, the remix version is out right now. So it's basically, this is the, and I'll actually, why don't I pull up the cover art too, so you can see the reference. Not totally on top of it today, guys. The world has been crazy. Yes, yes. Okay. So, here's a cinematic. All right, so this is the actual cover art for Sunbeam, the single. This is the remix version, right? So you can see, like, it's just a glitched out version. I went straight purple on this one, which I actually didn't do that with all of them, but this one is the most purple. This one, by the way, what the remix is by Kikami, also known as Kenneth Kaminsky, our former community manager, who is now moving on to bigger, greater, well, really great things. So I'm stoked for him. But I'm more stoked because I believe this kid is going to be famous. And then when he gets famous, people are going to be like, oh, what else has he done? And they're going to find this remix. So anyway, so yeah, this is the cover art. All of the covers from these singles are this particle art that it's basically, you know, explosions in space I think I've also shown you guys these other ones, but just in case I haven't, this is the one for Pieces, which came out last month. And Find Your Way was like this. So you can see they're all very space, and they all have this. There's an ode to the greatest hits actual cover, the full album cover in here, which you can really only see like this little mountain right here and right here. It's meant to be very subdued and not super clear, right? It's a little bit of an Easter egg, although I guess if anybody's watching this, never mind. But so these are all kind of the thing, and the mountain is in here. You could barely see it right there. So anyway, but this is the sunbeam art, and I thought it would be cool. I'm like, gosh, it's really explosive, so put it on a shirt. So this is the shirt. I took my logo. It's just very, very small right there, and I put my name there. So these are the mock-ups, right? So there's a girl with tattoos and colored hair, so she looks kind of like me, I guess. And then there's a dude in a forest, because this tee is for forest walking. I don't know why. I just liked this one, so I did it. But so I'm dropping this merch. I sent it to and I did a very limited run of them. They were, since they're full color, they are more expensive. So I ended up paying, at the bulk rate that I bought, I got it for like $10.39 each, which is not terrible, for full color, but I had to order a lot of them to get what I got for pricing on that. Usually you're probably looking at a little bit more expensive. And these are screen printed. These aren't direct to garment. So they'll have, kind of that quality that I'm looking for. And they're printed on nice, I think they're canvas 4313. So they're nice soft shirts. So so this is launching. So I priced them at $27.50, which is a little high, but that's about where it's just over 60% margin, which is always my goal for full price merch is always a 60% margin. And then when I put it on sale, it's usually a 40% margin. So those are going up for sale. I sent them to my greatest hits folks today, and the order of things, right? Because I talked to you guys about this, how the different levels of opt-in get different levels of product or different like early access. So the greatest hits orders, they got them. They got an email today. My SMS subscribers are going to get a text later today. And I did kind of want to share that. So let me figure that out. And so what I'm using right now is ManyChat. And I got to tell you guys, the biggest reason why I stuck with ManyChat for SMS is because of the pricing. Because they charge about a penny per text sent. And ManyChat is where I am gathering my texts. That's where I'm letting people opt in. So at first, when I was looking at SendLane, for example, which let me pull that up again, so I can show you guys what that looks like. We're back to email. I knew it was too good to be true. So, so SendLane, it's great. So if I just hover over product, you can see like they've got email marketing, marketing automation, which usually what that means for most providers is that they will link to your store. They know who's looking at your products. They can track return visitors and send them emails for abandoned cart, stuff like that, right? That's really what this means, this marketing automation. They do SMS marketing. I love how people put like, segmentation as a as a thing, but they do SMS marketing. So I went over there and, they're like, how does a 98% open rate sound? And like, that's all texting. You don't have to do that with SendLane. But when I looked at their pricing, I was like, holy moly. So their growth plan is $79 a month. Yeah, because they charge you for 1 to 5,000 contacts. That's their first plan. And, it's obvious that they're like priced to exclude certain people. But with that growth plan, you don't even get the SMS automation marketing, which is like, holy balls, man. So then the pro is 125. That's crazy. I can't. Do I want all these things? Totally. Am I going to pay that for it? No. So, but that is kind of the cool thing about SendLane. They do integrate with like everything. Obviously, I told you these, just like Drip does, they do these custom audiences. So when you build out automations, you can add people based on their activity to custom audiences and remove them and all of that stuff, which is really cool. If you're using one-click upsell for Shopify, it integrates with that. Obviously integrates with Shopify. Obviously integrates with Zapier, because you got to, right? So yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of robust integrations in here, and the development seems really great. One thing that kind of eked out, if I even had considered it, Drip over SendLane, is that Drip, all the words, Drip integrates with Thrivecart, which is tight. So, someone was asking about Drip pricing. So here we go. So it's a little bit, basically like up to 2,000 people is $29 a month. That works for me. With, it doesn't limit you to different automations. I mean, this is kind of another thing I liked about Drip that just like struck me the right way was that they don't have like, oh, you can have this plan with these features and then it's this amount. Like, it's just like, this is how much it is, and I just like that. It seems like, yeah, why are you gating parts of your service? Like, just have one price, have one thing, right? That's what Indepreneur does. We've got one membership. It's one price. You get everything, So anyway, yeah, that was the deal with Drip. All right, I'm just checking comments to make sure I'm not missing anything super important. Another one, if you want to try, and here's the thing, guys, there's so many email providers, right? So like, I'm just going with the majors to kind of like, talk to you about that. But, there is, definitely, there's a lot of choices and there's a lot of competent choices. For Sendinblue, I like how they're like, what's different? That wasn't what I was looking for, though. I was looking for features. So with Sendinblue, obviously they've got SMS and email as well. But one of the things that they had was chat. And then when I looked at their text prices, I was like, guys, where is it? Why are you being sneaky? Interesting. I don't know why they're hiding it now, but the way that their SMS marketing works, it ended up costing like 7 cents per text. I was like, I'm not paying you that, man. So anyway, let's deal with that. All right. So this broadcast, for example, this is an SMS broadcast that I'm building. So I haven't gotten real far in this, so bear with me. But essentially what I like about this is that since my SMS users they've all come through the CC points flow, which I've shown you guys, especially in episode 8 and 9, but I've talked about it previously. All of my SMS opt-ins are through CC points, which is in Messenger. So they're already used to playing around in Messenger. I wouldn't necessarily use ManyChat for SMS if that wasn't how they had opted in. Because I think if you want to do anything more complex than the 300 character limit or whatever it is for texting, if you wanted to get something more out of it than that, most people want more than that. I mean, if you're signed up for a text list, you probably get something that's like 20 words and then a link, right? Oh, flash sale on this collection or whatever, and then a link. So I don't like text message marketing that's done that way personally. Do I buy stuff that way? Absolutely. Do I want to text market that way? I do not. So what's cool about ManyChat is that I can be like, yo, this was happening, blah, 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 right? And I can set them up to start a flow. So it's a link, and then I can set a flow that brings them into Messenger, and I can kind of set them up for that, right? So I'm letting them know that this t-shirt is out, but I'm also going to be like, look, you can get 2 more CC points if you blah, blah, blah. So let me, I started building out oops, that's not the one I wanted. Cool. Okay. So I'm like, somebody has arrived. Here's a couple ways to grab CC points, right? So I'm having a conversation about the tea. So my idea here is basically to be like, here's the tea, check it out. And do you want to get 2 CC points for giving me feedback? And I'm basically going to poll them like, do you like the color of the shirt? Do you like the design? What do you think about having my name on it? Are you cool with that? Would you like a shirt with it on the back? Whatever, stuff like that. So I can get information about what kind of, stuff people would be interested in buying, since I'm going to do a shirt for every sister track release. So that has been cool. Just like getting into ManyChat and being like, oh, cool. Yeah, I can set this up to do that and whatever. And then the other initiative for CC points is to get them to check out the song. All of them, if they've made it here, they've given me their streaming preference. So I know if they use Spotify, Apple, YouTube, SoundCloud, something else. So what I plan to do is say, here's the link to the song, but also if you share this to your IG handle and tag me in it, you'll get another 3 CC points. That's more of an advocacy thing. So I would give them more points for that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's been, fun to kind of brainstorm and think about, okay, how can I use this text in a way where it's not like, hey, I texted you, here's a link, go buy something, right? How am I continuing the conversation and then being like, oh, and if you want to buy it, here's the link for it, right? And that's something that we've been talking about a lot in Founder Affirmation as well, is like, look, you can do a merch drop, right? And be like, yo, there's this new thing and it's flames, go buy it. But if you talk to your audience before you even launch something and get their thoughts about it and kind of talk about it like it's a thing, I think it was on the founder call, the affirmation call, where I was like, you're having a sales conversation without having a sales conversation before you even would have a sales conversation, right? Because you're talking about something in the future or in a hypothetical sense, right? So what that does is that anybody who is interested in that, they're going to be waiting for it. So then when it comes out, I don't have to like make a big selling point about it, which is another thing we talk about in Founder in all of the splinters is like, look, how much is, whether you're doing an opt-in, you're doing a merch drop, whatever it is that you're doing, what does it look like before you start trying to get them to do things, right? Can they tell it's the same dude or gal or they? You know what I mean? Like, is it obvious who you are from the first video into the second one? Have you already talked to them about some of the things that are in your brand, and the kind of things that they should expect from you? So, and we've been talking about this on the podcast lately too. I've just kind of been on a rant about it. So, ignore me partially, but this is a way for you to have a conversation about a piece of merch, really make it seem like, hey, I really just want to know what you think. But if you're interested, you can also grab it over here, and hey, here's 10% off if you want to grab it. I find that things sell really well that way. That is what's been working for me for the last 10 years of my life. I talked about the Greatest Hits album before it went on sale. I was talking about it for like 2 years. And I was sharing stuff with my list, and and then when it dropped, it was like bam, 4,000 4,000 orders. So that's the kind of thing where you just talk about stuff. So yeah, I think like using these different channels is really important. That's why I wasn't in a big rush to move over to I really thought that I wanted an email provider that also did SMS, because I feel like that commerce integration is so strong. But I don't think I'm actually there where I need it yet. I can do this instead. You know what I'm saying? So I built out my Thrive cart, and I actually ended up ordering my EP that is called At First Light. Is actually, I've never printed a hard copy of it with Corrin Campbell on it. I just never have. When I first released it, it was when I got out of the military, and I was really broke, like a lot broke. So I didn't print hard copies of it, which is kind of ironic, right? I still had a ton of copies of Gilded. Or no, I lied. I had to order copies of Gilded because the Army had been issuing an Army-fied version of Gilded, and so I didn't even have copies of Gilded. I forgot about that. So I had to order Gilded, and then I was broke. And I was like, I'm not going to print an EP with 5 songs on it and try to sell that to people, because, that wasn't, I just didn't feel like it was worth the investment. So I started running my Thrive cart, and I'll just kind of give you guys a look at how it's built. So I built out my Thrive cart, and I was selling, I need to share my screen though. You gotta see it. So this is what Thrive cart looks like. And if you've ever bought anything from Indiepreneur, this is what it looks like. It's not the same colors, obviously, and it's different branding, but it's so freaking simple. They put in their info. I currently have it set to pay what you want, which has worked out super, super well. There's only one person that paid $0. There were 2 people that paid like $1 or $2. Most people are putting in $10, $20. Like they're just putting in $15, right? So what's cool about this feature, so I love this pay what you want feature. And then if they put in like $5, it's like, okay, cool, right? Dynamically updates. If they put in 10, then, I thought it was, maybe I don't have it turned on for this one. Oh yeah, okay, I had to click off of it. So if they put 10, it says, ooh, you're generous. Thanks so much for the extra support. I love this feature, guys. I love it so much, and it's done a lot for me. So I ordered hard copies of At First Light because I was like, I need a freaking order bump. And I didn't have any products that would make a good order bump. So I'm like, okay, well, this would probably be good, So I ordered hard copies of this. So they're actually on all of the people who ordered At First Light. I sent them an email right away, and I was like, hey, this is actually on back order, and it'll ship on Tuesday. So those albums are supposed to get here. Kind of ran it to, I got a little bit ahead of it. So, but they're all super, and everybody replied, they're super nice. Like nobody was pissed. So, but they can just toggle that on, right? And it adds it over here. They put in their stuff, it's no additional shipping for that. And they just put in their card. There's also PayPal. I have Apple Pay and Google Pay also enabled. So if I were on my mobile device and it, saw that I had Apple Pay on my phone, it would pop up there too. So this has been doing super well. I actually had to reorder this because I want to say I've moved about, it's not crazy, right? But I've moved about a dozen a day since I turned this campaign on. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad about that, especially because I'm charging $5 for shipping, where at the rate that I buy CD mailers and with the postage, I'm probably making about $2 margin on the shipping alone. Just for that. And then the cost of the album was about, I want to say $1.12. So if they absolutely pay nothing, they don't add the order bump, and they pay $0 plus the $5 shipping, I still make like 63 cents or whatever it is. And if they add to it, it's all profit. So that's been working super duper well. And I've done free plus shipping and handling in ClickFunnels before. I've tried free plus shipping and handling through Shopify, and, worked fine, right? But right now I'm doing US only and going to Thrivecart, and it is flames, and I'm super happy about it. I don't have a ton of ad spend going on that, so it's not like I'm reaching, every single person that I could, but it's going well. So, and actually full stack merch, I just bought a full stack merch license for Thrivecart as well, so that we can offer funnels, because the cool thing about Thrivecart, you can only have it on one domain, right? So like, for example, the full stack merch Thrivecart will be on fullstackmerch.io, and everyone's, anybody who's on there would have to be under that domain, but every product can have its own tracking information. So it's really easy to just, like, we're not mining anyone's data. And if a client is like, I don't want ClickFunnels, it's freaking $97. It's like, we can offer them $10 a month to use Thrivecart with us, for us to, build that funnel for them. So I dig it. I'm digging it, and Full Stack Merch is doing it, and I'm stoked on it. Super stoked. Cool. So Erica asked if I'm using TuneSpeak in ManyChat to distribute points. So I'm not exactly. TuneSpeak has a different set of deliverables, I guess, or of points objectives. So, but the idea was, I had people signing up for TuneSpeak. There is basically they can, here, I'll share. All right. So my TuneSpeak campaign, there are 2 link clicks. They can click to go to my website, which is nothing special, and they can click to go to CC points. So if they click that link, it goes here, right? And it's like, hey, rack them up and start this. And then they click start here, and it goes to their messenger. So that is how that's working with TuneSpeak. With my email, like all the people that are exporting from this contest, because obviously join the mailing list is one, and that's obviously a very high entry level. So they're definitely, like, people are doing that. With their email automation, it's like, hey, and actually my email automation for that is still in MailChimp, because I'm in the process of transitioning it. So I know I'm going to look like a crazy person, but because I'm like, I'm not doing MailChimp anymore. But it's essentially, and I think I may have shown this before, but I'll just touch on it again real fast. All right. So the email for TuneSpeak is basically saying, hey, thanks for opting in through TuneSpeak. And, I also do this startup with Campbell Core Points here. This only sends to people who are not already on my list, who are part of the TuneSpeak import. So it doesn't send to my people who are already in there, because obviously people who are already in my mailing list went and signed up for TuneSpeak. So this is specifically for people who were not yet on my mailing list. So that points them to Campbell Core Points. Now, when they do that and it goes to Messenger, here, the web of things when I'm trying to show you guys stuff it can seem a little crazy, but it's not. It's not crazy. It's totally fine. So, let me grab it. Okay, so with this, right, I have a special link specifically for those who are sent that link in that email. Because I know that they already did the TuneSpeak campaign because that's how they got the email. So I just add this tag to TuneSpeak and it's like, okay, this is how CC points work, right? And I'm like, hint, hint, I just kicked you off with 2 CC points, you know? So, that's, if they come in through TuneSpeak, that's what happens. If they don't come in through TuneSpeak, and like I've got my level 1 actions here, and there's a lot in here, but don't worry about it. If they aren't already in TuneSpeak, they go through this conditional flow, right? And if they don't have the TuneSpeak tag on them, the very first thing that they can sign up for is, are you in the US, UK, or Canada? Because only US, UK, Canada people could sign up. And I'm like, cool, I have this contest for TuneSpeak. And like, yeah, take me to it. So they either already have the TuneSpeak campaign, right? Or they either came in through TuneSpeak or they're offered TuneSpeak right off the key. So that's kind of how I'm having them work together. I also have that actually on my ThriveCart checkout. I can show you. I'll show you. So let's go here. Okay. So in ThriveCart, you can edit your checkout to be many different things. So obviously we've got the cart checkout here, right? And then we've got the success page. So it displays their invoice. This is how much, thanks so much for your support, displays what they purchased. And then I put, my fans are also playing to win a $100 Amazon gift card, custom Vans shoes, and a 10-piece merch pack. Do you want to play? Click here to play. So it's just kind of everywhere right now. And everything is feeding everything else. Obviously, the TuneSpeak campaign is sending people to ManyChat, which is getting emails and texts. I've got this enter win button on my site. So if they end up getting there, right, if they're on my site and they didn't see the offer and they want to get the pay what you want pricing for Gilded, bam, they can do it right there. And they click that button, it goes to ThriveCart, right? So like everything is all kind of keeping everything else in mind. That's kind of the goal here. So it's all going really well. There's nothing that I've been like having an issue with or like things aren't working or whatever, everything's been working great. Erica says she's been having a hard time with Apple Pay integration, keep getting a fail. How is yours working like that? Gosh, I'm in WooCommerce. Maybe I should switch to ThriveCart. Yeah, I don't know enough about WooCommerce, unfortunately, because I avoid WordPress like the plague. So, but it's working great on ThriveCart and it works great on Shopify. So for me, I'm just like, great. I don't have to think twice about that. Erica says, I've just hired TuneSpeak to run a contest. Talking to Chris. Yeah, Chris is the man. Make sure you told him Entrepreneur sent you, because I just want him to know. I've been bringing him clients for like years because I love their platform. I don't get a referral or affiliate anything. Just so you know, I'm not like, tell them so I get my $25 or anything like that. It's not like that. I just really, I love it. I think that it's a very powerful social tool. And I will probably use them for 8 million things, especially because Viper is just too freaking expensive. It's too much. I like Viper, but for me, it's too much. You're intimidated by ManyChat. Thrive works with WordPress. Oh, I told Chris he loves you. Well, good, because I'm annoying. Because my campaign is, obviously, it's 7 months long. And so every Friday, I don't think they're used to artists being like, what's the latest mailing list numbers, So every Friday I email Neil, who you'll get to know, I guess. I email Neil and I'm like, hey, what are my mailing list subscribers? Send them over to me. And then every other Friday I have a new song. So the pre-save action changes and and so I'm constant. And then I'm like, hey, can you put this new thing? I put a survey in there about what color people want on their custom vans or whatever. And then I added the CC points link. And so I'm constantly changing that campaign, and they're not getting paid anymore for that. So I'm glad he loves me, because I'm a high maintenance contest because it's just spread out so long and there's so many singles attached to it. But I've brought them enough business. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I think it's especially legit for touring once that opens back up. Oh, it's just so great, because all you have to do is give away 2 tickets, at these various stops. And it's just fire, It's just great for getting all of these actions. I think it does speak to, though, all of this is the fun in gamifying things, right? For those of you who weren't here last week, I talked about the level 1 prize, which is basically I'm just sending them a card, and I'm handwriting every single one of them, which makes my hand a little tired. I wasn't thinking of that clearly when I first started doing it. But the level 1 is literally like I ordered all of these cat cards, which are ridiculous. But I mean, I have one on my arm, so it can't be more ridiculous than that. But I found these just like cute, like watercolor, and some of them, this is just a regular cat, but some of them are like cats wearing hats or glasses or whatever, right? So I'm obviously a cat person. It's even in some of my sales pages, right? I'll show you guys one of my sales pages because I want to prove to you that I'm a crazy cat person when at all possible. Well, that's not it. I don't remember any of my own URLs. I think it's this one. There you go. Look at how true this is on brand, right? Hi there, I'm Corinne. I make rock music. I love cats. My hair turns bright colors when I'm particularly feisty. So, like, it's in my branding. So anyway, I got these cute cat cards. I think they're cute. Whatever. And I basically write a note that's like, hey, look at you, you've completed level 1, so great. If they are someone who has been in my family for a long time, I'll be like, I'm so stoked to send this to one of my usual suspects, or I'm very aware of, especially the long tail fans. I have a few fans that I can like name and recognize, and I know them, they've been around forever. So like sending, and when I used to send out all of my packages by hand without even printing addresses, and I was writing addresses, like I would learn. I'd be like, oh, you moved. Like super creepy. So anyway, I fill out this card. I'm like, hey, welcome to the family, or, I'm happy that you're still around. And then I sent some stickers in with all of them, and I said, post this to your IG and tag me in it, and you'll kick off level 2. And that's how they actually start level 2, is by posting that to their IG. If they don't do that, there's still other ways that they can, get into level 2, but that's kind of it's like a scavenger hunt, and they're really excited when things happen automatically like that. And then you bring in this flair of like personal touch and like handwrite stuff, hand make stuff, and whatever. So gamifying and just like making it where it's like, oh, random surprises. Like what am I going to do next? Like, what's she going to send me next? What cool things can I do next to get points, and making the whole thing fun. It's just, if you don't have anything else going on, like if you don't have any releases right now and you're like, I'm not going to buy merch right now, or whatever, like just, come up with a game. It's really, it's amazing how much people are just really, really into it. So if you feel like, I can't run ads right now and I don't have a bunch of money for this, and I just want to get the buzz up. I've got a warm audience. I just don't have anything for them right now. Do something like that. It's really fun. Erica says, you've inspired me with your cat. I'm going to use my doggy. He's adorable. Yeah. Animals online, if you're doing nice things with them, are, well, even if you weren't, but please only do nice things. Animals on the internet. You just can't beat it. Maybe babies on the internet, but like babies on the internet don't work on me, but animals on the internet do. So it just kind of depends on what you got lying around, I guess. Babies, animals, whatever. So that is what's been going on in my world. I am redoing my Shopify because I've been running everything pretty much exclusively in Thrivecart for the last couple months, or maybe even just the last month, maybe. And I haven't, my Shopify was just like coming soon. So I got my Shopify up and running. There's not a whole lot in there right now, but there's going to be. And so one thing I did, and I'll actually share that as well, because we're talking about all the things. There's nothing crazy going on in my store right now, so don't judge me, all right? So I want to fix the fonts. I'm just not thrilled. I want to install a custom font. I didn't realize that there wasn't a web version of the font that I'm using on my site right now, which is, here, let's go there. So this font here is called Cinzel, and Cinzel, and I really dig it. And that is kind of like, it's pretty prominent. So that is not available in a WOFF file, which is a WebTrue font. So I can't import it to Shopify through Liquid because you need it in that format. It doesn't work with OTF or TTF font files. So they do have this one, which is Quattrocento, and I have Quattrocento Sans on select things as well. So this is all in Quattrocento, and this is Quattrocento Sans. So I do have that, but I want to get Cinzel because I'm like, it doesn't match. So I'm working on that. I'm working on it. But in the meantime, and I hate messing with Liquid. That's one thing about Shopify is Liquid is just a code language that I'm not super fluent in, and so I don't like messing with it. So in the meantime, this is what it is. But basically all I did was shop the latest, which has, basically the latest releases in here. Shop music only, which is pretty much the same thing because, because I don't have a lot in here. And then I have Corrin's pick, which I actually kind of dig that right now. I don't know where that idea occurred in my mind, but I was just like, why don't I just have something that's like, my pick of the week or whatever. So I have that on the front, right? Click the button to check out my latest pick, which is also the same thing as this button, and that's the Sunbeam Tea that's going right now. So yeah, that's kind of all I've done in my store so far. I really want to fix the fonts because it's gonna make me crazy. So, but other than that, that's the gist. What are you guys doing? What questions do you have? I mean, we're at an hour, so we can wrap it up, but if you have rando, somewhat related questions to what we're doing right now, I would love to hear about it. I'll give you a little bit. I'm going to take a sip of Red Bull. Bring me the questions. Want to hear them. Questions. I wonder if I can get a sponsorship from Red Bull. That'd be tight. It's funny, I actually, on Warped Tour, maybe it was in 2014, That's when Red Bull still had their soundstage program, and they actually did send me a bunch of stuff, and like they had people out on Warped and whatever. Which it was funny because Monster Energy Drinks was a huge sponsor of Warped for years, but I guess Red Bull was like, maybe we could get someone in there with Red Bull. I don't know. It's funny because Monster, if you've ever seen Monster Energy Drinks, right, the cans are ridiculous. It's 2 servings in a Monster can. So it's like, bigger around than a Red Bull, and they're also much taller. And so they would actually deliver cases of different kinds of Monster to every single stage every day. So when you got to the stage in the morning, you could totally grab like your breakfast Monster. And then specifically for that tour, they actually had tour water. So they would they would take the filtered water that they would use for Monster Energy drinks and put them in cans. And they were Monster cans, but they said tour water on them. And so it was just, artists were downing that because it's 90 degrees out and you're bouncing around on stage or whatever, just dying in the heat. So of course you're drinking water. So even if you weren't drinking Monster, you were drinking Monster, and it was branded everywhere. So then I was really surprised when Red Bull, they sent me some apparel, and they just sent me some stuff for whatever reason, and it was hilarious because I'm like, I've been pictured drinking tour water at least 90 days this summer. So, all right, that's enough anecdotes. We're done with Corrin's Corner for today. This week, if you're interested in coming next week, this week, I'm going to be playing around more with Drip. I want to show you guys some more of the specific e-com automations once I get them going. Not necessarily because you need to use Drip, but because you could probably replicate it with any e-com syncing email provider, which MailChimp does not mostly. But you still can simulate it using Zapier and a bunch of other things, right? So I'll go over some of that next week. I'm also going to be experimenting with ManyChat buy buttons. I'm going to see how this SMS goes, but I may actually put buy buttons in ManyChat and take Facebook payments for this tea. Well, I'm going to see. I don't know. Maybe not this one. Maybe the next one. I don't know. But I think I'm going to play around with buy buttons in ManyChat a little bit, which I've done for other people before, and I've actually sold. I think I've sold 1 or 2 things that way, but I haven't really done it very seriously, so I want to go hard on it. So I'll be playing with that, and there'll probably be other stuff to talk about. Maybe more updates on my free plus shipping and handling funnel, because that's only been running for like 3 days. So we'll see if it fatigues. Obviously we always get the first, sales tend to happen at the front and then kind of trail off as the audience runs out. So hopefully I can keep that pace up, but we shall see. We shall see. All right, guys. I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks so much for just like coming and listening to my random musings about tech stack, because I have a lot of them and it's fun for me and hopefully for you. And that is it for today. I will see you guys next week on Corrin's Corner. Bye-bye.